Okay, namaste. Welcome to India. That's where we are in our Google journey. And we are going to be looking at weight. Okay, so yesterday we looked at using vocabulary, where we looked at saying something is heavier than something, or something is lighter than something, something heavier than, less than, weighs less than, and so on and so forth. Today we're going to put that into practice, where we are going to physically become human scales. Now you can do this in two ways. You can either just use your hands as normal and literally put them out, or if you've got buckets at home or anything like that, maybe two little buckets, then have those in your hands and you can become actual human balance scales. Okay, now balance scales are used to, as the word suggests, balance things. You would have one side have some items in, and in the other side you would try and match up the amount of items so that the scales balance, and you would know straight away which one is heavier and which one is lighter. In balance scales, if it's heavier, it will dip down, okay, and it'll be literally right down here if it's heavier, and if it's lighter, it will go up. Okay, so if you have your balance scales, lighter will be up here and heavier will be down here, and so on and so forth. Okay, so today what I would like you to do is take some items, have them out in front of you, and we're going to become human balance scales. Okay, so once again, just using items that I found around the room, and honestly, there's going to be some bizarre things that I'm going to have to hold in my hands. We're going to basically just do a little quick task, okay? You guys can shout at the screen if you think you know which one will be heavier and which one will be lighter, and I'm going to move according to what you guys think, and hopefully you might get some of them right. Okay, so first of all, we have a maths cube. Okay, you might have seen these at home, at school, okay, but it's made of plastic, it's quite light, but we'll see what we're going to size it up against, okay? And I now have a tub of nail strengthener, okay, nail varnish. Now, if you guys have got this at home or you've seen it, it's made of glass, and glass in itself, if it's quite chunky, is quite heavy. So if I were to put these both in my hands, okay, we've got nail strengthener in this hand and a cube in this hand. Which way do you think my scales are going to tip? Which one do you think is going to be heavier? So that'll dip down. And which one do you think is going to be lighter and it'll go up? Okay, I'm going to give you 5 seconds. Okay, which way do you think it's going to tip? This way. Okay, my nail varnish is heavier than my cube. So if we use our vocabulary from yesterday, the nail varnish is heavier than the cube. The cube is lighter than the nail varnish. The nail varnish weighs more than the cube. The cube weighs less than the nail varnish. Okay, let's try something else. Okay, we now have a cup and we have the cube back again. Okay, so once again, I've got my human scales. Which way do you think my scales are going to tip? Which one do you think is heavier? Now, if you're at home, you'll feel it in your hands. Whichever one's pressing down on your hands a little bit more than the other is the heavier of the two. So which one of my two do you think is the heaviest? Okay, I'm going to give you 5 seconds. Okay, and let's see if we can find out which way I'm going to go. And the cup is the heavier of the two. So let me use my STEM sentences. The cup is heavier than the cube. The cube is lighter than the cup. The cup weighs more than the cube, and the cube weighs less than the cup. Well done. Okay, let's try another one. Okay. Again, it's very abstract because some of you might not have held these before, so you'll have to listen to my description and maybe go from that. Okay, the nail varnish is made with glass, okay? If you can hear that, okay, it's quite thick and it's quite a heavy material. And then we've got the antibacterial cream, which you guys should be using at the moment at home. It's made of plastic and it's made with a light fluid. Okay, so I've kind of given you some clues there. So if I were to put these in my hands, okay, which way do you think I'm going to tip? Okay, which one do you think is going to be the lightest this time? Which one do you think is going to be the lightest? Which one weighs the least? So 5 seconds. Okay, and let's see if we can tip which one is the lightest. The bacterial gel. Okay, it's quite a light bottle, whereas this one feels like it's pushing down on my hand a bit more. So if we use our STEM sentences again, the nail varnish is heavier than the antibacterial cream, the gel. The antibacterial gel is lighter than the nail varnish. The nail varnish weighs more than the antibacterial gel. The antibacterial gel weighs less than the. Well done. Okay. So another quick one. It's very, very quick when we're looking at weights, just with the vocabulary. So day 2 today is I would like you to become human scales. Okay, so either go out in your back garden with buckets if you have them. If not, put them in your hands, okay, and dip either side. Okay, this is where you're using your prediction again. So when we did capacity, we looked at estimating. For this one, we're sort of using an estimation where we are essentially guessing which one we think is heavier and which one we think is lighter. So if you had 2 items, you would write them down and say which one you think, predicting which one you think might be heavier or lighter. And I'll show you what I've got as an example. Okay, so the way I would do it is try and make it as simplistic as possible. You would have a table that has your list of items in them, okay, the ones that you're going to compare. So for this one, for example, I had the cup and the pen, nail varnish and antibacterial gel, cube and nail varnish, okay? And what you do underneath is just predict which one you think will be the heaviest and which one I think will be the lightest by putting either in a H or H for heavier and L for lighter. So for example, for the cup, I think that's going to be heavier than my pen, so I put in a H, either have a capital H or a little H, and I think the pen's going to be lighter. Okay, and when we did that, we knew that was right, so you can give yourself a tick. Okay, we had nail varnish and gel. If I was to say this was heavier and lighter, and give yourself a tick if you are right. And then cube and nail varnish, we said the cube was lighter and the nail varnish was heavier. Okay, just doing in that way. Okay, there's loads of different ways you could do it. That's probably the quickest way. Okay, just having your 2 different comparing items and then saying which one you think is going to be the heaviest and which one you think is going to be the lightest. Okay, and then giving yourself a tick if your predictions are correct. Okay, I hope you have a little bit of fun with that today. Do really silly items if you want to. Just say, does Captain America weigh more than the Hulk? If we were to do that in practice, Hulk's probably heavier than Captain America, but maybe you've got different figures at home, okay? So again, make it as silly as you want. If you wanted to compare the Avengers, go for it. Does the Hulk weigh more than Iron Man? Does the Hulk Buster weigh more than the Hulk? Okay, so have a think. Does Superman weigh more than Batman? It's entirely up to you. Okay, it can be as silly as you want. Okay, but for today's lesson on weight, I want you to become human scales and I want you to compare 2 items using your predicting first of all. Okay, so estimating for capacity, and we're going to predict with weight. Okay, so that is day 2 done, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.